and welcome back to Fandom on Demand. Taking a break from my television reviews for this week, I thought I'd show a little hometown pride by reviewing a movie that was shot in my neck of the woods. Or, more accurately, my dad's neck of the woods. Anyway, close enough. Shot in Wood River, Illinois, among other nearby locations, was a car flick from the 1970s called Stingray, which, to my great disappointment, was not about a giant killer stingray. Can't win them all. What it is about is a group of drug dealers who have to quickly ditch their stash and money in a brand new Corvette Stingray. Unfortunately for them, before they can get back to it, the car is bought by two locals. And hijinks ensue. It's goofy, it's bloody, it's full of 70s cheese. It's like if the Dukes of Hazzard were a movie and for a more adult audience. But I'll not keep you in suspense any longer. Let's dig in. So after our opening credits, which informs us that the son of Robert Mitchum is the star of this movie, we meet two guys named Lonigan and Tony who are waiting for a drug deal to go down. The deal goes south very quickly as Lonigan discovers that their associates have planted a Homer along with the drugs. So he does all that anyone can do in this situation and murders the people who have wronged him. Justice. They make a quick getaway and in a fit of panic ditch the money, stash, and Homer in a gorgeous red Corvette Stingray at a car dealership. This turns out to be a bad move on their part. The cops arrest the two criminals but have no choice to let them go because they can find no evidence on their person and or in their car. And I tell you, it takes a truly masterful criminal to hide evidence of their crimes somewhere else. Lieutenant Herschel is certain of their guilt because he's one of the few characters in this movie with a functioning brain. Lonigan and Tony meet up with one Abigail Brutowski on their way out of the station, and she is the reason to watch this movie. She's a notorious criminal with zero tolerance for the idiots she's surrounded by. She's cold, ruthless, she's kind of hilarious. Also, she's disguised as a nun. Abigail Brutowski is my spirit animal.
Something bothering you, Fatso?
I beg your pardon?
You got a problem, asshole?
Well...
The trio are tailed by a typically inept cop and a light-hearted chase scene follows. This scene is cute, again in a Dukes of Hazzard-ish kind of way. Once they lose Murphy, they stop to pick up a guy named Roscoe. Seriously? Roscoe? You know, I'd say that this movie was just flat out stealing from the Dukes of Hazzard, but according to IMDb, this movie was released a year before the Dukes of Hazzard premiered. So I guess this was just America's state of mind in the late 70s. Anyway, they head back to the lot to pick up their drugs and cash, but they're too late! Oh, the tragedy! And it is here that we meet our heroes? Doesn't seem to be the right word. Protagonists, I guess? No, that's not... Okay, I got it. Main characters who are not actively involved in killing. That's the way to describe them. Their names are Al and Elmo. That's the best they could come up with. Al would be the Mitchum in question, by the way. He looks just like his father, except he's blonde. It's kind of distracting.
Woo! Come on, Elmo! Look out, man! Well, go on, boys. Take her out of here. I gave you 2 gallons of gasoline.
Anyway, Al and Elmo tear off in their new car and are immediately pulled over by the cops. Not willing to take any chances on her stash being discovered, Abigail and her flunkies kill the cops to ensure that their secret stays safe. Hey, you know, you do what you gotta do to make it in this world. Sometimes you gotta make some hard decisions. I respect her decision here. In all seriousness, both this scene and the opening scene, we see two guys in close-up taking bullets to the head. That's fairly graphic. Then we get a goofy chase scene 2 minutes later. This movie can't seem to find which tone it's going for. Mostly it seems to want to be a fun, light-hearted, easy movie. But then we get these moments where they flash the audience with real hardcore violence and it's just kind of jarring. This has been an analytical moment with Fandom on Demand. Now back to our story already in progress. Our gang of baddies is now chasing Al and Elmo. Tony nearly falls out of the car because he's an idiot. It's still kind of a funny gag though. Back at the scene of the crime, Herschel and Murphy are sure that Abigail Bertowski is behind this. Okay, good. That's smart. Unfortunately, the cops are told to be on the lookout for the Stingray. That's bad. Al wants to go to the cops and explain everything that's happened. Elmo is hesitant, but agrees. Sadly for them, the first cops they see start shooting at them before they can get a single word in. I am pretty sure that's not standard procedure for police officers. Abigail despairs that she's lost the Stingray.
What's the use? We're never gonna find him now.
No, girl, don't give up on your dreams. You just gotta believe in yourself. Believe in yourself like I believe in you. Luckily, Lonigan remembers the transmitter and gets a tracking device by intimidating this guy named Bug. Al, ever optimistic, still wants to explain things to the cops, but figures this time it'd be safer to do so by telephone. Well, he's learned one lesson thus far in the movie. Elmo's not quite down with the idea. Elmo's still a little stressed out.
I mean, it only nearly got us both killed. I got a bullet hole in my pant leg you can put your finger through.
Now, wait a minute. You're gonna love this.
Hey, I know. Let's ask Mr. Noodle.
Wash your hands, Mr. Noodle. Ah, here there's a sink with some water. No. Mr. Noodle. That's your food, Mr. Noodle.
Abigail and Co. catch up to Al and Elmo and cue that silly country music again as another car chase ensues. Okay, the guy wearing the pea shirt and whipping out his gun and firing is kind of funny, I admit it. Abigail's disguise is starting to irritate her, so mid-chase she demands that Lonigan pull over so she can lose it. I love this woman.
I didn't love that bitch. I'd kill her.
Aw, Lonigan, you say the sweetest things. Al and Elmo run out of gas and have to push the Stingray to a station. And side note here, the attendant here is kind of a jerk.
Cans of beer and all the ham and cheese sandwiches on rye you can give me for $7.
Can't. Ain't got no ride.
Elmo finally discovers the cash in the car, and rather than turn it over, he'd like to sell the drugs and get rich. Yeah.
Look, what we got here is a one-way ticket out of this burg. We play our cards right, we're set up for life.
How much do you think that's worth?
I don't know. Thousands, maybe millions. Who knows? Look, the way I see it, we got two choices. We can either be rich, we can be dead.
God, he is so hilariously out of his depth here. If he tried to sell these drugs, he would be killed so fast it's not even funny. Actually, it probably would be kind of funny. So for all my comparisons to the Dukes of Hazzard, this scene does establish Al and Elmo as more morally ambiguous, I guess, than Bo and Luke ever were. Not that they're deep characters or anything, but they're not so squeaky clean, upstanding citizens that they both agree to go straight to the cops and hand over the money and blah 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 blah. No, Elmo's all for taking the drug money and running. I kind of have to give the movie some credit for that. But before they can do anything, Abby and her merry men catch up to them yet again. Everyone gets separated as Tony and Lonigan chase after Al and the Stingray, and Abigail and Roscoe chase Elmo into the woods on foot. And it just kind of goes on like this for a while. Abigail winds up shooting and killing Roscoe. Well, why would you grab the barrel of a gun like that? It's his own fault.
That's great, Fatso. That's just great. Now I'm stuck out here by myself.
And Al manages to trap Lonigan and Tony in their car with a bulldozer. Nice one, Al. Credit where credit's due. Elmo steals a dirt bike from this sinful couple, and right on his heels is Abigail, who steals the other one. This is God punishing you for fornicating in public, you filthy heathens. And the chase continues. Lonigan and Tony fail to start the bulldozer to free their car because they suck. Luckily, Abigail comes along and frees them quite easily. Like a boss. Oh, Abigail, teach me your ways. Tony reveals that the Homer is in the jacket that Elmo's been wearing. Abigail takes the news well.
What's so important about the jacket?
Christ, the Homer's in the jacket.
You little fart! Why didn't you tell me?
Al and Elmo catch up to each other at a place called Ronnie B's.
Would you mind opening this? I would like to drink it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Wow, first the gas station attendant, and then this waitress. How does the service industry stay alive in this town? Why are these people in such foul mood? Well, I know why, but you're supposed to fake being pleasant in front of customers.
What's that all over your face?
Gnats.
Gnats.
You ever run into a swarm of gnats at about 65 on a cycle while you're grinning?
Okay, that actually did make me laugh the first time I heard it. Because Elmo is now as attached to this jacket as Linus is to his blanket, Abigail and the Pussycats catch up to them again. And the two escape. Again. This is starting to feel just a little repetitive. The bit with them knocking Tony out is pretty cute though. Lonigan and Tony ditch Abigail. They can't even handle her fierceness.
Bottom line is, when this is over, Abigail, Acapulco, up to her ass in banana daiquiris and Beach Boys. You and me, a trash bin in East St. Louis.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with East St. Louis. I can't even finish that sentence. But Abigail's fine. She don't need a ride from them losers. She can kill a guy and steal his ride. And that's the way I always hitchhike. Speaking of hitchhikers, Elmo decides to pick up one because clearly his priorities are in order. This woman is never given a name. She is simply credited as Girl. So I'm gonna call her Rebecca Lynn. So Elmo decides that they need to disguise the car and they get it painted this horrible dull blue color. Ugh. This is not a bad idea. In fact, I just covered something very similar in my Savage Sunday review. But, as we the audience know, it doesn't matter if they disguise the car or themselves or whatever. So long as Elmo's got that friggin' jacket, the bad guys are still going to be able to catch them. And Elmo never figures this out. Like ever. Abigail, through with these shenanigans, takes an ice pick to the back of Lonigan's neck. Her one mistake, she leaves Tony alive. Nobody ever suspects Tony. Rebecca Lynn is taking this situation very well. Her demeanor has not changed in the slightest. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I would find this situation a bit off-putting. But she mostly just seems bored.
Well, it doesn't sound like they're on to you.
They get chased into a car wash where the car is washed back to its original red. That's not how that works. That wouldn't happen, no. Now the cops are involved with this chase, about friggin' time. They take the chase to the river, and finally I start to see some areas that I recognize from growing up and being home. Sorry I wasn't born in the 70s, get off my back. Tony ends up shooting Abigail. No! But my girl don't go down easy. She pulls herself up and she avenges herself. That's right, girl. You do me proud. And then she accidentally blows her own head off. This just became the saddest movie I've ever seen. I mean, it's like, why would the filmmakers do this to me? Why would they take Abigail, this perfect angel from above, away from me?
Murphy? Did you ever meet Abigail before?
No.
This is Abigail Bertowski, Murphy. Huh? Got her. She never looked better.
But in all seriousness for a moment, let me get this straight. Our heroes effectively have done nothing in this movie but buy the wrong car and run away. Abigail killed all the bad guys, including herself, so what is the purpose of Al, Elmo, and Rebecca Lynn? Perhaps it's a message about how crime doesn't pay and criminals will always lead themselves to their own downfall, or greed leads to nothing in the end. Or I'm giving the filmmakers way too much credit right now. So you'd think that with the bad guys dead and everything, that would be the end of the movie. But you'd be wrong. Rebecca Lynn has discovered the money in Elmo's jacket that he somehow managed to part with for a few moments. I'm proud of you, Elmo, for learning to let go. The trio go to collect it, and some homeless guy has made off with it. Okay, then. They chase him up the bridge, and the bum tosses the jacket away. It gets caught on the edge of the bridge, so Al goes out and tries to retrieve it. He does save the money, but falls into the mighty Mississippi. $250,000. Robert Mitchum's less talented son. I think we can put this one in the win pile. No, of course he's still alive. The Mississippi doesn't have like a strong current or anything. Happy to be reunited, the three walk off into the sunset, still debating about what to do with the money. So, bad guys killed themselves. Cops did nothing. And our heroes may or may not have caved to their greedy side. This movie's kind of dark. Don't let that happy homegrown soundtrack fool you. But is the movie good? Well, it depends on what you're looking for. Is this movie great art? No, of course not. But is it fun? Sure. I mean, Sherry Jackson is fantastic as Abigail. The car chases tend to run a little long, but they're infused with some fairly original gags that can keep you pretty much engaged through the whole thing. The plot isn't a bad one either. And of course, they shot it in the best location in the world. Am I right or am I right? I think what the movie suffers from the most is subpar acting, Jackson aside. It's also got an overlong ending, like seriously, everything after Abigail dies and they discover the money could have been cut. The whole bit with the homeless guy falling into the river, no, don't need it. Cut it out. And there's also that inconsistent tone that I mentioned earlier. Still, it's a fun claim to fame from my hometown, my dad's hometown, part of my mom's hometown. My point is, at least they didn't film Manos Hands of Fate in Wood River. This has been Fandom on Demand, bringing you fandom when you demand it.